Hello Scorpio, this is your April forecast for 2017 and I'd like to talk about the retrogrades since we have several of them going on here right now. In fact, we only have Mars as one of the personal planets that are direct, moving us forward, giving us the oomph and the drive that we need to move ahead and accomplish things. That Mars is this month in your 7th house for love and relationships. So you're doing good here. You're taking on the lead. You could feel more supported from your partner this month as well, since your partner also is inspired here by Mars in this area for you. But we have Mercury, we got Venus, we got Jupiter, we got Saturn, we got Pluto, all retrograde. So what does that mean? All right, let's start talking about your Mercury. Mercury starts out top of the month at just 0 degrees, just inside of your 7th house for relationships. It will move along until that of April 10th, then it will retrograde and go back into your 6th house, and retrograde will be over by May 14th, all right? So during this time, of course, it's all about reflecting upon the past and rebalancing those karmic issues that are important. There could have been, since it's your 7th house, it could be conversations or issues between you and your partner earlier that might resurface right now so that you can readdress them and find the proper balance that works for both of you. Some of you might even find that exes can come out of nowhere. That could be through social media or whatnot, but sometimes we do see people from the past reoccur or resurface. Now, Venus is retrograde, and like I said last month, this is not a good time to go get the haircut or get any surgery done, tattooing, not even going out shopping for new things, as it may just not turn out the way that you had hoped or anticipated. Venus will go direct again, though, at April 15th, and Venus currently is in your 5th house. 6th house, I'm sorry, but it's going to retrograde into your 5th house again. Now that is a nice place to have a Venus retrograde, because why? It's the area of self-expression and joy and all your artsiness. It's also very romantic, and it's the area of your children. So right now, if you can find the time to find that creative spark that I know a lot of you Scorpios have, I think you'll be really happy for it. Why? Because it's in the sign of Pisces again. And Pisces is ultra creative. It being in your 5th house, you can just come to create some of the most sensitive, beautiful things, whether it's music or arts, painting, sculpting, dancing, you name it. It is there with you. And I love that the fact that it is retrograde, because you might have started something earlier and maybe by circumstance you didn't have time to complete or conclude and bring to fruition. Now that you have this extended time, see how it's working out for you? You might bring that project forward now, work with it, so by the time April 15th, you can come to see that you can start moving it forward and have it all done. So delays sometimes aren't always a negative thing. It's actually giving us a second round of time. But let's move on to Jupiter. Jupiter is retrograde until June 10th. This is in your 12th house. So I've mentioned this the last couple of months too, that Jupiter is working in the subconscious area. Jupiter wants to grow and expand. I would say pay attention to your dreams at this time, because that is where it's operating. You can come to receive a lot of information from higher dimensions if you so do choose to open up your channel and listen, right? Now, Saturn is retrograding April 6th to that of August 26th, and Saturn's a taskmaster. He's always the one that wants to grow and become the master of the area of where it is transiting. And so for you, it's all about your financial situation. You're looking at how you can grow it, you're looking at how you can expand it, you're looking at how you can cut back on unnecessary expenses so that you can have more at the end of this cycle. So sometimes we say that Saturn represents scarcity, and that is true. There might be less to work with, less money flow in your hand right now, but it's going somewhere, right? So whatever it is you're doing now, the pressure is going to be off since he's not moving forward. At least giving you a little break there to the end of August, and then you can see that things can pick up speed once again. Pluto, though, your ruler, is going to be retrograding as well, April 21st, straight through that of September 29th. And Pluto's all about transformation. We grow and we evolve and we transform on a daily basis. You know, Pluto moves slowly, but when it retrogrades, some of that growth might feel like it's not on right now. It's more going to be working in the background. I'd like to say it's more turning into autopilot, right? And Pluto for you is in your third house. And so you might have felt that there's been a lot of pressure on you to perform, to speak publicly, or give presentations, or lead the group, and so forth. And when that Pluto is there, it can bring some anxiety because the need to perform, and it is your ruler, and I would feel that it holds a lot of responsibility as well, since it's passing through the sign of Capricorn, right? Now you might just feel that that's going to ease up a little bit so you can breathe. Maybe now focus a little bit more on the creative side of your chart when Venus is back into Pisces in your 5th house, right? That will boost your energy. There's a lot of health to be found when we create. So that's pretty much what we have for the retrogrades, but let's start top of the month. On the 3rd, Venus moving back into Pisces, back into your 5th house. On the 6th, we got Mars and Pluto in a beautiful trine. They're both your rulers. Mars was your ancient ruler, Pluto is your ruler now. But when they're in a trine like this, that energy that you're taking out there on the 6th can actually move mountains. You're physically very, very strong on this day. You might encounter people that represents power on some level, which is typical for Pluto. It may be you coming out with your sense of power. Mars being in your 7th house for relationships, Pluto in the 3rd. So I'm feeling that this is a good balance of you and your partner, or who you work closely with, and especially when it comes to settle some verbal agreements. However, talking about verbal agreements, remember though, Mercury is going to be retrograding here pretty soon on the 10th, but between the 7th and the 9th, Mercury is slowing down, coming to a halt. Not retrograde yet, but we have a choice that I see you're wanting to really run with and feeling enthusiastic about. However though, the Sun is opposing that Jupiter, and I'd always like to say when we make choices, look at both sides of the coin. Everything has a flip side, right? So whereas the Sun feels very enthusiastic to go out, you might just feel that somebody's not in total agreement with you, because why? On the 8th, Venus, which rules love and harmony and beauty, but also money, but the things that you desire, it's up against Saturn in your 2nd house. So Saturn's saying, no, you can't have this right now. Even though you desire it, but you can't have it. So you're having to really hold the reins back on a certain expense, especially if it's a frivolous expense. You might just have to be very harsh that day to hold back. And if somebody's holding you back from something, you might just have a reaction to it on the 9th, because then the Sun is square Pluto, and it wants to express it. So you have a little bit going on there. We all do. This is global aspects, right? But then on the 14th, there is some unexpected joy for you. This is coming in through your 6th house, which has to do with the people you work with, and it also has to do with you and your routines. You might come up with a genius plan on how to cut back on whatever is overwhelming and to work things in a different way. Good for you. Now, the romantic evening of the month is on the 17th, when Venus and Mars both are moving in a beautiful sextile. They're harmonious. They're wanting to get together. If you are single, do not sit at home. This is a perfect time. You might meet somebody, and you might meet somebody that you can feel is very familiar to you. even if they are a complete stranger. That is because of Venus is retrograde, so it could be a soulmate coming in, past life love, or it could also maybe be somebody from your past that is popping up. Now, the Sun and Saturn are trine on the very same day, so that gives it a signature of longevity. So some of you might just come to see that you might find yourself getting engaged or wanting to get married. The Saturn is feeling that this is all good, so that is beautiful, and congratulations with that. On the 19th, though, we have the Sun moving into your opposite sign, which is Taurus. Taurus now is wanting you to look at your relationships, okay? That's your 7th house. So it's between your desires as opposed to the desires of your partner. Mars is already there. So right now you can collaborate and work. And the more you see the other's need, the better it is there for you. You might feel too that your partner is stepping up and bringing a whole lot of energy into your direction. On the 20th, we have the Sun and Mercury conjunct, and what's a little bit special about this is that Sun on the 20th is just about to cross the 7th cusp, okay, into your relationships. The Sun's moving forward, meeting Mercury in its retrograde right there on the cusp as well, going back into your 6th house. So it's kind of like meeting yourself in the doorway. That could be a little interesting to pay attention to how that is going to work out for you. But on the 21st, we have Mars changing signs. It is going to ingress into the sign of Gemini. Now, Gemini is versatile. Think about it. They always like to have several projects going on. You might find that yourself may be dispersing your energy. And the 8th house is where Mars will be staying for quite a while. So you're looking at shared resources, you're looking into savings accounts, investments, so forth, maybe commissions and royalties, and how you can come to increase it. Now, Mars will visit this area of your chart every 2 years to kind of like do a revisit. Is it still good? Are we happy with the way the money is placed? Then everything is fine. If it's not, this is the time that Mars wants to change things around a little bit so it can come to gain more over the next 2 years before the next visit in this area. On the 21st, we have Venus and Saturn again having a square just like it did on the 8th. So Venus being love and desire, or what we desire, it's being cut off again, like I said. However, now though, this is going to give you a second chance to look at what might not have found its resolve earlier. You may revisit it now and then come to terms with an agreement. I think both of you, or if you're a group, and this involves a group, well, then you will find something that you're both really happy with. We have both Mercury and Saturn meeting in a beautiful trine on the 24th. They're both retrograde, okay, so they're both dealing with issues of the past. However, though, the aspect in itself, which is a trine, is beautiful. So it means that whatever is coming up to the surface right now is being tweaked and worked to a perfection where I feel you and whoever else is involved may feel really happy. This is in the area of your money, okay? Saturn being in the 2nd house, but Mercury here now in your 6th house. So, the 28th is the last aspect of the month. We will mention your moons. We haven't got that far yet. But Mercury and Uranus, when they meet up in a conjunction, sharing the same degree in the sky, we always have this unexpected sense either of insight or news coming to us. So you want to mark that on your calendar. It could be you also wanting to surprise somebody else with the unexpected. But listen, the new moon this month will be April 26th, yes? And it is in your area of your 12th house, just crossing a past Jupiter there. And so the new moons always represent new beginnings, always, always. And since it's touching upon Jupiter, this new moon is empowered by those dreams that you're holding subconsciously, where you're seeing yourself with visions of where you want to grow over the next 12 years. And I say that because Jupiter is really in this area trying to close down on where you've been the last 12 years. How have you grown? Where did it take you? What has matured, right? And it's really wanting to see, where am I going in the next 12 years? And having this new moon touch upon Jupiter right now is powering it up. So take some time for a meditation on the 26th. Think about where you're heading, not just between now and next month. Where do you want to be 12 years from now? What would you want to have achieved? So the moons for this month, we have that full moon on April 10th. And the full moon for you here, Scorpio, is in your 12th house, all right? And it's going to illuminate everything that you're holding subconsciously. It's touching upon Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about growth, right? And since Jupiter is in that 12th house, it's reflecting, it's kind of sleeping, right? Thinking about where it's been, what it has achieved over this last 12-year cycle for you. What did you obtain these last 12 years? But he's also dreaming about where he wants to be 12 years from now, what this new 12-year cycle wants to obtain. So when we have the full moon here, you will come to see how all of these emotions are going to flood to the surface. Pay attention to your dreams here around the 10th. Then we have the new moon is in your relationship area, partnerships, relationships. So new moons are always when we plant the seeds, right? Always representing new beginnings. So you can feel maybe that you and your partner might spark things up, and this is a time to place your intentions of what you want to see as a beautiful growth between you and your loved one, right? So this is what we have here for April. I will see you in May. You can go listen to your moon and rising sign, and I'll see you